How do you think the second series is different to the first series?
The second series is a lot darker than the first series. There's a lot more character development in the second series. I don't know, it's just harder and faster and better and stronger in that song, you know?
You know, they've focused on the storylines a lot more. They don't have to, like, introduce anyone as such as like they did, whereas each episode last year was introducing a new character. So they've got to have more fun with it. And it's worked well as well. I mean, all the storylines work really well.
We've been more confident, and we know what we're doing now, and it's just, I think it's a slicker, well-oiled machine than it was last year, I think.
Yeah.
How does Sid and Michelle develop in this series?
Oh, we've been asked this question, and we really can't give too much away, but all we can say is that there will be a Sid and Michelle storyline. What that kind of involves, can't really divulge.
And in the first episode, we see them not really being able to cope with what's happened to Tony. Why do you think that is?
I think if you put it in the real world, having a boyfriend and best friend affected in that way will, you know, affect you in a way that you wouldn't even know until you experienced it. And I think it's been very difficult for both of them.
Yeah. Well, Sid has kind of had to put up with him for so long, and then something happens and he's still there for him, like, you know, in a sense, on his deathbed. And I think he just kind of gives up and thinks, you know, I don't need to be here anymore, so I leave.
And it's weird because Tony was the strong kind of leader of the pack, and now he's completely reliant on his friends, and that's a really weird position for Michelle and Sid to be in, because he's always been bossing them around, and now they've almost, you know, got to look after him in a way. So I think that's probably what they're finding the weirdest.
Is it going to take them a long time to kind of come to terms with that, do you think?
Well, yeah, definitely. I don't know, is it 6 months since the last series?
Yeah.
So they've had a long time to kind of try and get used to it. And obviously things happen in the Tony storyline that affect what happens to Michelle and Sid and how they cope with it. So it's all very interesting.
And we also see at the start of the new series, Cassie's been sent to Scotland, Sid's stuck where he is. And Sid seems to be finding it harder to deal with than Cassie. Why do you think that is?
I think because of the whole Tony thing that's happened, and he's lost his best friend, and then his girlfriend goes off to Scotland, so he hasn't really got anyone. So when you first see him, he's just in his bedroom by himself. So he just feels really alone. And then Cassie's got these two Scottish guys that turn up and act all friendly with her, you know, and he's got no one to talk to. His family's a bit of a mess. He hasn't got a mum at the moment. He's just living with his dad. I just think he's just, you know, he's in a land of nowhere with nothing. So I just think it's hard for him to deal with.
Is Michelle in a kind of similar situation? She doesn't really seem to have anyone who she's massively close to at the start.
That's one of the main things that
Sorry,
we're being put off by Mitch. That's what brings Sid and Michelle together, through their kind of feeling of loss and loneliness, I think. And that's how, Michelle deals with it in a ridiculous manner by going and finding attention from other people and stuff like that. So, yeah.